here's Brody Brazil.
So this video is going to be my instant reaction to the San Jose Sharks news of the day. They have dismissed their head coach of the prior 2 seasons, David Quinn. And this only became official about an hour and a half ago as I record this, so what I'm about to present here are my initial thoughts alone. I may have some more fully developed things to say eventually, but right here, right now, this is just top of the brain type stuff. Before I get to my own commentary, I want to begin with a statement from the Sharks general manager, Mike Grier, who said, quote, "After going through our end-of-the-season process of internal meetings and evaluating where our team is at and where we want our group to go, we have made the difficult decision to make a change at the head coach position. David is a good coach and an even better person. I would like to personally thank him for his hard work over these past 2 seasons. He and his staff did an admirable job under some difficult circumstances, and I sincerely appreciate how they handled the situation." And when you look at David Quinn, just in terms of results, the record was not good. 41, 98, and 25 with the 2 seasons in San Jose. It was a tumultuous 2 years in terms of the roster, the personnel, what the team was trying to do, and rebuilding things, and I'll get to more of that in just a second. But they finished 4th worst in the league last season, and they finished last in the NHL standings this season. And because of all of that alone, if you're watching this play out from the other side of the continent, or you're watching this from 30,000 feet, you don't pay attention to the Sharks, but you can just see the record. And from that alone, this move is not surprising. Things were obviously not turning in the right direction. But at the same token, in the same breath, I don't think this move was a given. I mean, understanding the circumstances of what this team was doing behind the scenes, you trade away Erik Karlsson, you trade away Tomas Hertl, Logan Couture, your captain, is out for almost the entirety of this previous season. It was an uphill battle the entire time trying to just hold this group together behind the bench. If you watched the Sharks, if you know the Sharks and their process and their journey and what they're doing, David Quinn had an unbelievably difficult job. And I feel like as these 2 parties part ways, there's really nothing personal here. This is not David Quinn's fault. He took on an extremely difficult job that only got harder as it went on. And it literally is almost the Sharks relieving him of these duties. I don't think anybody wants to lose their head coaching job, but it was getting extremely tough for David Quinn. And the Sharks are still searching and trying to turn a corner. Hopefully that happens with another good draft and some more young players coming up. In terms of the highs and lows, and I suppose I'm mostly focusing on this last season for David Quinn, there was some individual growth. William Eklund, Fabian Zetterlund, both really emerged as true great hockey players for this team, and hopefully they are the foundations of what's to come. Mikael Granlund came in, Mackenzie Blackwood came in, so individually there were some success stories of this season. I feel like those were the highs. They were all individually related for this team. But as a group, there were a lot of lows, like starting your first 11 games without a win. I think they had a couple other 9 and 10 game losing skids. They also had the 12 game losing skid between the end of December and the start of January. They also had those 2 games, back-to-back losses, where I think it was the Canucks first and the Penguins second, or vice versa. I've tried to block it out from memory. 2 games in a row where the Sharks allowed 10 spots to the opponent. And after the first time, you're hoping to say, well, that'll be something you'll never see again anytime soon. And wouldn't you know it, it literally happens the very next game. Now, I'm not here to put that blame on the head coach at all. Again, this team in a rough spot, under rough circumstances, not fully built as it was supposed to be because it's in the middle of getting rebuilt as an organization. I would just say that there were some discouraging streaks by the team where they just didn't necessarily have a consistent effort, and there were not as many competitive losses as you would have liked to have seen this season. I know that's crazy. Losses, who wants that? But competitive losses at least show a sign of direction and a sign of progress and a sign that your team is getting better, staying in games, instead of being defeated in lopsided results. So that is probably the biggest low, I would say, taking away from last season. So what is next? We'll quickly turn the corner on that. I hate to be this harsh about the situation and say, well, what's next for San Jose? But that's already something to start thinking about here. We're at the end of April. The playoffs have barely just started, so this is a prime opportunity for the Sharks to make this move. Unlike last time when they made the change from Bob Boughner to David Quinn, that was late in the summer, and there really wasn't much time. This time around, it's going to offer a large opportunity to have a full interview process, to make a timely decision, and to probably have even some more options out there. But for me, what are you looking for if you're San Jose? Obviously, first and primarily a coach who can foster a young group, right? You've already got some young players that you're counting on. You've got even more at different levels in the pipeline. Quentin Musty, Will Smith eventually. Oh, let's hope Macklin Celebrini's right around the corner, and some others. But the point being, this coach is going to have to be ready for those young players. This coach is going to have to be really good with those young players so that they can properly emerge at the NHL level. But there's also some pressure on this next coach to ultimately turn a corner with this team and start getting some wins. That's something that Quinn and company were not able to fully do, most certainly, but you would have to think in the next couple years, if you're looking at the bigger picture of San Jose's timeline and process and journey, at some point, this needs to be a team that's inching closer to like a 500-ish type record, and producing more wins definitely a part of that. I'm going to throw out some names here. I don't know if this is fair for me to do or not, but some of my instant ideas on the radar went like this. Todd McClellan, recently dismissed this season by the Los Angeles Kings, former Sharks head coach. And if you look back, he was dismissed, almost 10 years ago now? Crazy that time has flown that long. He's been with Edmonton and the Kings since then. He was only dismissed in San Jose because they were kind of looking to rejuvenate the team and trying to get more out of that group. And ultimately, they did make a trip to the Stanley Cup final. But the point being is that Todd McClellan was not dismissed for any sinister reason other than timing and trying to get a spark out of the team instead of anything that the coaches were or were not doing right. Todd's assistant in San Jose was Jay Woodcroft. Obviously, he too was dismissed by the Edmonton Oilers this season. And a lot of players on that Edmonton team were confused in the moment. Now, they did turn things around after Woody's departure, but there's another person who's familiar with the Sharks organization, just like Todd is. I mean, Mike Grier played for Todd McClellan, I think in Grier's last year as a player with the Sharks, if I'm remembering, 09 was at the crossover. Point being, there's a lot of familiarity with Todd McClellan and with Jay Woodcroft. They're both out on the market. And then how about Jay Leach, former San Jose Sharks defenseman, good guy, good character guy. I know he didn't play a lot, wasn't around for a very long time, but highly regarded in the San Jose organization. He is currently a coach on the Seattle bench with the Kraken. So that's another distinct possibility if they're looking for somebody with just a little bit of a different background. So I'll throw out those early names. Again, this is all early initial thoughts. I apologize if I didn't bring you as much value as I normally do in a video like this, but this is kind of all a fluid breaking situation. Like I said, I wasn't entirely surprised by this, but it definitely wasn't an expectation that it was going to happen this summer. I quite honestly could have thought that David Quinn gets another year to try and really turn him around and really see some of that win-loss progress actually happen with a group that's more building than subtracting and renovating. But he obviously will not get that chance. I just want to say, for us in the media and watching him operate, I thought David Quinn was great. I think he's a good person, good human being. I absolutely wish David Quinn the best, the very best in whatever comes next. And I have no reservations. That's probably for him going to come sooner than later. That's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. I really appreciate that. It'll help me, this channel, and this video. And don't forget to subscribe because I definitely want to see you back here next time.